Let's go get snowed in. Let's go get snowed in. How wrong could that be? Being snowed in somewhere, you and me. Let's go get snowed in. Let's go get snowed in. How wrong could that be? Being snowed in somewhere, you and me. Let's get snowed in somewhere, you and me.
Merry Christmas, baby. Reindeer's coming out to play. Santa Claus is packing the presents, making sure you've been behaving okay. Merry Christmas, honey. Yeah. The snowman's dusting off his hat, putting on the show for everybody, to give them a smile that lasts another year. There's something that happens when sleigh bells are ringing, when December ends, when the children are singing, yeah. It's Merry Christmas, baby. Merry Christmas, baby. The snow is laying 2 feet deep. Now wish upon a falling star, so all your secret dreams can come true. There's something that happens when sleigh bells are ringing, when December ends, when the children are singing, yeah. It's Merry Christmas, baby. Ooh, yeah. There's room at the table for big and for small. All the fire is popping, the chestnuts are cracking, yeah. Merry Christmas, baby. There's something that happens when something that happens when December ends, when December ends, yeah. Oh, it's Merry Christmas, baby. Merry Christmas, baby. It's Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas. It's Merry Christmas, baby. Yeah. Christmas, baby. Christmas is coming. Start sending your letters off to Santa. Christmas is coming, yeah. Better be nice if you want your present. Tell all your brothers, sisters, mama and papa too. Christmas is coming, yeah. Staying up late looking out the window. Yeah. Christmas is coming, yeah. Spotting some sleigh rides and some jingle bells. Tell all your brothers, sisters, mama and papa too. Christmas is coming. Roasting some chestnuts on the fire. Yeah. Christmas is coming, yeah. Celebration and surprises. Tell all your brothers, sisters, mama and papa too. Ooh, yeah. Tell all your brothers, sisters, and mama and papa too. Oh yeah, yeah. I'm walking around feeling free, thinking about what's happened to me from July up till now. Don't know where, don't know how. Lately I've come to realize that I can see it in your eyes, so it's true. I'm so glad you feel it too. Nothing to hide, falling in love. To me it's perfectly clear, we're falling in love. It's true, this part of the year has something in store for us. We're falling in love. Summer ended, but we did not. We started something, this thing that we got grew stronger. Each day we're together, all the way, oh, we're falling in love. To me it's perfectly clear, we're falling in love. It's true, this part of the year has something in store for us. We're falling in love. Hey! As times got the best of me, then it starts to snow in our hearts. We both know that we're falling in love. To me, it's perfectly clear we're falling in love. It's true this part of the year, something in store for us. We're falling in love. We're falling in love. No, it's the time of the year when something's in store for us. 'Cause we're falling in love. That's right.
Good morning. It's like we're at church. Peace be with you, and also with you. I haven't been to church in a long time. I don't know if that's still how it works. I don't know. Tis the season to go to church. So, sometimes you want to go to church, you know? Some people want to go every week. Some people want to go more than once a week. I don't know. I haven't been in a while. There's some really beautiful churches in Chicago. I don't know. Maybe it's time. Maybe it's time for me to go to church because, don't worry, I'm not going to like this. Sometimes I start the show with, these thoughts and things. This is not what I expected to talk about was church, but we don't have to stay there. I just was thinking about, Christmas the other day. I was thinking about, I don't know, some really cool things that have happened lately. And I was like, should I start, I don't know, praising God? I don't know. There were a few days where I was like, things are really going my way, Who do I thank? You know what I'm saying? Anyway, it has been quite the morning, and I'm really happy to be here. I love a morning show, and there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on, including tomorrow night's show. We'll have a special guest. We'll have Elizabeth Townsend-Gard from Just Wanna Quilt. She's in town, and she is a good friend of mine, and we thought maybe she was going to do the show Tuesday, but she had to teach a thing, so we moved it to Saturday. So tomorrow we're going to have an early dinner, and we're going to come and be here with you together. I hadn't had somebody with me on the show in a while, but of course I did with my mom. I'm wearing a blazer. I don't know, whatever. I'm not going to look down at the screen. That's always a bad idea. So Mom was on the show last week, which was great, and we did our special stream on Sunday, which was great. But I haven't had a non-family member person sitting next to me with the show for a while. When was the last time? Hey, Steph. It wasn't Lisa, was it? Was it Lisa Riggs?
I think it might have been Lisa. On the show in Chicago, yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
It's been a hot minute. And the offer stands to everybody out there. If you're in town, I guess I could say, if you're a subscriber to the show, that's probably a good way to sort of kind of make it a little bit less open to, I don't know, total disaster. If you're a supporter of the show.
Any rando on the street can come join the Quilt Nerd show.
Yeah, some gamers like flicking through, some gamer lives like, in the south suburbs, west suburbs, north suburbs, completely not in my life at all, in the city, not, completely just like some 15-year-old kid, is like, hey, she said, if you're ever in my neck of the woods and you want to be on the show, just come by. She said it. And that would be a little strange, So at least that 15-year-old kid, hello, I care about you. I appreciate you supporting the show. You need to support the show in some way. Follow first, okay, then subscribe, and then we'll talk about bringing you on the show. Darren, Eric, Eric, well, yeah, I just picked boys' names that came to my mind first. Dylan, what are boys' names now? Devin?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Devin. Dustin, Devin, Darren, Deontay, Dylan, did I say Dylan? Anyway. So So I hope everybody's doing well. I am a little. Molly subscribed at tier 2. You've been subscribed for 14 months, Molly. One of the funniest women I've ever known. I know I say it. I don't want to belabor it. But you're damn funny, and I love it. I love it about you so much. Lady K, good morning. Susanna, good morning. Oh my God, it's Pie. Pie, it's good to see you. If you got time on Tuesday, Robin, Steph, hey, actually the bakery's all here. Can we have them call it on Tuesday at 11 a.m. Central? We can talk about it later. Don't want to put you on the spot, but I was just thinking about getting something on the books, man, because it's been a wild time. Holmes, oh my God, Holmes. You know I love a morning show. Holmes, same. Marianne Tea Cake is on the bus home. Now that I'm reading that chat, when you sent it, you said you were almost on the bus. I bet you're on the bus right now. I love a bus. I do. I like a bus in a city because you can see the city, you know? What am I trying to say? The subway is great, but in a bus, you can see what's going on, street level. Lady K is loving the Christmas tunes. L. Riggs, good morning, my dear. QB Terra. Hey, Casey Spiker Curtis is like the stream. Casey, thanks for coming by. I'm really glad you're here. Somebody else, I caught news from Cake that there was somebody new who was in the chat. Hey, Alasala. Good morning, Alasala. Not feeling your best, girl? Fella? I'm not sure. I don't know you yet, but I know that you're in a good spot here. It's a pretty cool group of people. And I'm really glad you came by, and those welcome baskets are for you, for sure. Yeah, you know, I don't feel that great either. Let's be honest, okay? Let's be honest. I'm moving a little slow. Druid Godmother, hey, baby. Hey, baby. Love my Druid Godmother. Drink wine and Solin. I'm not meaning to skip anybody, but I'm just kind of scrolling. I'm looking pretty? Really? Oh, thank you. I'm just scrolling by. I'm not saying hi to everybody. I look pretty, thank God, because I feel totally cracked out. Okay. Anyway, you were lady, so girl was accurate. Okay, girl. Well, I hope you get to feeling better. Hey, Jan Make Stuff, a nun maker, Susan R. Michael, L. Reader, Renee. Yeah. Okay. Stephanie Cake, let's get this show on the road. How are you doing?
I am doing well.
Excellent.
It is cold here in Maryland.
Yeah. How cold
I
is
am
it?
so not ready for winter. I think it's freezing. I didn't look at the actual temperature, but
yeah.
I noticed Padma said there's frost this morning in Northern California.
Woo!
So sounds like we might all be shivering a little bit. I don't know. I don't see anybody. Our Florida. I don't know if I missed anybody. Our Florida contingent.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Marianne Tea Cake. I don't know what it's like over there in the UK, but I think the world is under the winter freeze.
Yeah, maybe so. It's I don't know what it was 29 in Chicago yesterday. I was like, what the hell? But it's I know, but you know, people say all the time. It's one of the things you hear about Chicago. Al Capone, you know, okay? And like deep dish pizza, right? And like, oh, the winters are terrible. And I just have to say, let me just say, yeah, the winters are cold in the Midwest. But I grew up in Iowa. And they're not that much worse here than they were in Iowa. I mean, it's like you have the lake effect thing, and that's true. But it's strange because, like, I was in Minneapolis once, and it was the most bitterest, coldest, most just life-sucking cold I have ever felt in my life. It was so windswept and desolate. I was like, I love you, Minneapolis. This is not, so like we get this, you know, we get this reputation, but maybe it's because, and I am not saying anything about Minneapolis. I love Minneapolis, St. Paul, love it. Maybe more people tend to come through Chicago, you know, more regularly, right, than Minneapolis. I feel like that's fair because of the airports and the hubs for the airlines, you know, so maybe more people who aren't in the Midwest in the wintertime, Chicago's going to be where they are in the Midwest in the wintertime. But like, I don't know, I feel a type of way when people are like, Chicago, could never live there, the winters. I'm like, it gets cold. It's so cold in other places. So I'm tender about New York. New York's got some cold winters. Buffalo, Molly up in Buffalo. If we don't hear from her for a few weeks, it's because she snowed in. She snowed in and it became ice and she's trapped in the ice. So, Molly, you in danger, girl. Anyway, To quote First Aid Kit, I was born during this type of winter. Thank you very much. And also, you know what? And then we're going to get on to Stephanie Cake talking to us about giving of ourselves to worthy causes. But yeah, just put on a coat, you know. It's not cold if you're properly dressed. It won't be that cold. There you go. Okay. Okay, Cake, I'm tossing it to you, and I'm going to try to get a graphic up here on the screen because something didn't work before, but I feel like I feel lucky. So could you please tell us about the plan that was hatched by some scamps, including yourself? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Susanna, you had to ruin it by telling us it's a balmy 73 in Kuwait.
You know what? You just take your Q8 and you just go sit in detention. 70.
Oh, and it is cold. It is cold in Florida too. So I forgot Anon Maker was in Florida.
Oh yeah.
All right. So let's talk about, for those of you that missed the Tuesday show or haven't caught up yet, our very own Jill Alexander, who is a museum professional, came up with what we think is a really great idea. You know, this time of year, whether you celebrate any specific holidays this time of year or just get caught up in the hustle bustle, you know, the old Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and now Giving Tuesday is a big thing. I assume it's a U.S. thing. I don't really know how the rest of the world looks at these kind of things, but we decided that it would be fun for the nerds to give back in some way to some of the museums that we all frequent. We love to look at their collections, and we want to support them. So,
so great.
The plan is, on Tuesdays throughout December, we will collectively support a museum or nonprofit textile organization. I think you mentioned the quilt. Why am I drawing a blank? The Nebraska.
Oh no! What did I say? Sorry, I'm working on this. Like, really, I found the slide and I just want to put it up on the screen. Someone in the chat will have to help.
Yeah. Anyway, so the organizations, nonprofits. You know what I'm saying?
You know, 501c3s.
Yes. I'm sorry, it's early morning here.
Yeah.
So what we decided is that, so every Tuesday in December, that we're going to collectively support a museum. And we started, just to make it easy for everybody, we started with the Iowa Quilt Museum this week because it's Mary's Home Museum, and they have been very kind to the show.
They indeed have.
So the plan is, from this past Tuesday until tomorrow, if you make a donation to the Iowa Quilt Museum and send us a screenshot of like your thank you screen or the thank you email that you get, like your receipt, if you send it to quiltnerdshow@gmail.com, you're going to go into a drawing tomorrow.
Oh.
So, and this goes for anybody that follows and views the show. So this is not just for subscribers. Anybody that supports the museum and sends us a copy of the receipt will go in the drawing.
I love it.
And then next Tuesday, we're going to do a poll at the top of the show, I guess, to decide what next week's museum is. And you guys will get to decide. We're kind of compiling some ideas from a few people on the disco. And Jill also has a list. So Yep. Jan Makes Stuff, International Quilt Museum. They're absolutely going to be in, one of the polls. So you guys will get to decide that.
Look at that.
And we're going to kind of rinse and repeat this throughout the month. Yeah. So if you were on the disco, I do have a probably much better explanation of this.
No, it's great.
It goes through a little bit more succinctly than I am capable of this morning. As you guys know, I am not a morning person, and Mary's the only one who can like really get me wrapped up on a Friday morning. So
hey man, wait.
Yeah.
What was I gonna do? I was gonna do this. This will wake you up. Oh dear God, that was way too loud. I'm so sorry. I don't like. I don't like that. Do not like. Anyway, yes, but no, it's a wonder. You explained it very well, and it's a wonderful idea. It's just so awesome. Because I love giving the love to the museums. It's such a great idea, and there's so many of them, and it's like sometimes you don't know where to put your love. It's like, oh my God, you don't have to pick one. A little bit to each of them is probably a great way to do it.
Yeah, and we understand. Like, if you can't support them all, that's okay. We understand. But even if for one of these weeks out of the month, if you could give $5 to a museum, believe it or not, those little dollars help them. It all adds up. And this time of year, I know it's really hard for organizations because they're trying to stay alive. Obviously, a lot of museums do kind of holiday programs, but you imagine, their big times are really probably more tourist seasons, and the holidays are kind of a rough time. And I know that a lot of them do programs and stuff, but this is sort of their last chance at the end of the year to kind of drum up a little bit of support for their budgets. So
that is right.
So they're going into the new year with a little bit of money. So that's what we want to do. Knowing that this time of year, everybody wants to support somebody. Yep. So the Quilt Nerd will be supporting the museums that also support us.
You're good. Quilt Nerd will be supporting the museums that also support us. That's very good. That's very good. Very good. Ooh, okay. That was the best I could do with that slide, but it made it just in the nick of time. That's great, you guys. So, and we also have a December giveaway for subscribers. Can we set a date for that? Do you want to pick one now? Because Christmas happens, and that's a thing. So maybe it should be earlier this month. I think it should be earlier.
Yeah, I'm trying to cross-reference your and Robin's list of the schedule here, and cross-reference that with the calendar.
We can, if you spy it and it makes sense, but we can announce it later too. But and what did we decide what we're giving away? I'll figure it out. Okay, can I just tell you? I got to tell everybody what's really going on because I can't. I wear my heart on my sleeve. Molly, when we were at AQSG, and then we're going to talk about the quilt that's on your screen, I assure you. When we were at AQSG, do you remember how I had a gin and tonic? And I had never been more hungover in my life. At AQSG, at American Quilt Study Group seminar, the nerdiest function I have ever attended in my life. And I say that with deep, profound love. I drank a gin and tonic, and it just, I felt so bad. I had a headache from life. Well, I was like, must have been that gin. Like that, whatever they had at the Marriott or whatever. Well, I had nary but a sip of a gin and tonic last night. I didn't even finish it. I feel terrible today. I feel terrible. I saw my friend, gin and tonic, didn't finish it. Headache, feel terrible. That's what's going on with me. I had to say it. I had to say it because it's like, that's the truth. That's what's happening. I'm a little bit, I'm not hungover. I just feel weird. Anyway, enough of that. All right. Those drinks were tough. Thank you, Molly. Crappy gin, Mother Nature, that's what you think, but last night's was really good. It was different. It was different than other gin, and so I think I have some kind of intolerance now. Great. Add it to my list of problems. I'm kidding. All right, so this quilt here, everybody. I start the show with a different quilt every time. Thanks for coming along on kind of a silly ride this morning. It's a little wild. This quilt is from the American Folk Art Museum, and I was thinking about this quilt. I was thinking about the American Folk Art Museum because yesterday I had the occasion to go to the American Folk Art Museum website to ask about making an appointment to research something at some, probably next month or first bit of the year. And I was thinking about the American Folk Art Museum and their reading room. Interesting. It's in Queens. The museum itself is in Manhattan. I'm pretty sure. Oh my God, I need to look at that. Because it closed for a while. And I was talking to this person yesterday about that. And anyway, so I have this book of quilts from the American Folk Art Museum. And we've talked about it on the show. Stephanie, I didn't mention that I was going to talk about this. But I'm sure we have an affiliate link for it. We'll put it up there on your screen if we do. It's not the most amazing book in the world. You wish it was, but some of the photos are not so hot. But a lot of them are. A lot of them are really great. And so it's, if you're going to spend $50 on it, I don't know, how nerdy are you? You're probably pretty nerdy if you're watching this show and you've put up with my shenanigans so far this morning, so you probably need to get it. But there are some really fascinating quilts in that collection. They've got quilts at the Folk Art Museum from, I think the earliest, at least in this book, is, 17. There's a white work quilt. In fact, I have a picture of it. This This, oh my God, I mean, look at that. This whitework quilt is from 1796. We'll go back to the bullseye in just a minute, but because we're going to talk about a wonderful pictorial quilt artist, Janet Bolton from the UK. Marianne Tea Cake sent me an awesome couple pictures because she took a workshop with her. So we're going to talk about, contemporary sort of arty quilts. So I thought I would open the show and just talk a little bit about super traditional quilts, just to kind of kick us off. Because we're also going to look at the work of Rachel Clark, who I didn't get to talk about last show when we talked about wearable art. Which, by the way, if I can just say, you gotta point out when you had like a bad reaction to gin. Okay, fine, you can point that out. But also, Mary, point out the good things, the great things. I thought Tuesday's show was awesome. I thought it was awesome, and it was the discussion. Stephanie and I were talking about it. It's like when we get those discussions going, Cake, you were like, it's electric. People are just like, and I love it too. So I thought it was a great show. I'm still thinking about, what is it that makes a really, really great episode of Quilt Nerd? Because, it's sort of more involved than you think, right? It's like what really, really makes it feel good. And what's interesting too is without being able to see anybody, I can read the room only through the chat and Cake. Like, that makes a big difference, having an actual person to talk to and look at. But what makes a really great episode of Quilt Nerd? And I thought it was a great show. So I have to think more deeply about that, and you all can tell me too. But starting out with some traditional quilts I thought was a good idea. And here's a detail shot of this quilt from the American Folk Art Museum with the date on it, right? Because the date was quilted into the quilt. That is quilting, yes. Folks are talking about tequila. Robin, I don't want to, you don't need to be drinking tequila, Robin. It isn't right for you. I agree. You need like a whiskey sour or something. Anyway, so it's trapunto work. Here's what I can tell you about this quilt from the American Folk Art Museum in this book. Hang on. I lost my tabs at the copy machine, of course. Here. Tree of Life whitework quilt. Artist unidentified. We like to say artist once known, because that person was once known. United States, 1796. Part of what I wish the book did was tell you a little bit more. I mean, they are the Folk Art Museum, but it's not, it's not a scholarly tome. It's a book with beautiful pictures, right? So, and I do really like how they set some of the quilts on black. They frame them on black, print them on black. So, let's see. Also, there's just I just picked a few really good ones. So this one, Bullseye, not a lot about it. It's from Pennsylvania. Actually, I don't even need to look at it because I know the caption is quite short. Circa 1920. Circa 1900 to 1920, that's where they're placing it. That Baptist fan quilting up at the top. Well, actually, no, it's cable. It's a cable quilting going on up there, not Baptist fan. Do you see? Baptist fan is sort of like half of a cable, which I've never thought about. You could argue that's kind of interesting. Look, it's like I'm putting my hand in a pocket. Look, this quilt has a pocket. You see that? Isn't that funny? I found, wait, hold on. I found my bobby pin. Okay. So the cable quilting, it's kind of like the same motif, right? Just this undulating sort of half curve, but then, if you put another one on it, you've got this cable. Okay. There's also wonderful, so there's applique in the corner. Okay. I said Pennsylvania, I think. And you can sort of tell, I mean, when you look at some of these quilts, you don't know for sure, but like there's just that Pennsylvania color scheme, man, that like rose and burgundy. I think about Amish quilts from that area. It's just like those diamond in a square, it's all about like that burgundy and pink and navy, and that cheddar too sometimes. Yeah. The piecing is wild. I mean, it's so precise, and you can see the stitches so clearly, and they're all really tiny with the and the quilting. I mean, it's kind of quilted in the ditch, right? It's stitched in the ditch. Hey, Angelina. A quilt with a pocket. You know what? More quilts. Wait a minute. Angelina, who made... Cake, do you remember it was a Quilt Nerd on Parade? Oh, I need to announce that. A Quilt Nerd on Parade show where somebody was making
Was
quilts.
it Ivy?
Yes.
Oh, well, Ivy had the one, there was a pocket, and I want to say, was it a little cat? That,
Yes. It was a little cat in a pocket in a quilt.
And it went in a little pocket. It was a little sleeping bag. But I feel like there was somebody else that had some pockets, too, now that you mention it.
I think so, too.
But yeah, Ivy definitely did the little sleeping bag with the cat that went in it.
You know what? That's one of these. I mean, if quilts had pockets, the world would be a different place. I'm not saying it would be a better place. I'm not saying it would be less confusing. But it would be interesting if, like, oh yeah, you know, quilts. Those blankets with the one pocket on the back. Up in the corner. You can't put a lot in it, but it's, like, the best thing to have. You know, obviously a blanket with a pocket. Anyway, so that's our opener quilt. Stunning. Look at this thing. Bullseye. Wow. Incredible. This book also has one of my favorite quilts of all time. I say that a lot, but the Fransoika, Polynesia the Sky. I sort of insert it wherever I can, any way I can in lectures and whatnot. It's after Henri Matisse. Polynesia, the Sky. And I talk about it in my lecture with the UK and US quilts, and I got it in my big Fransoika file because I just love her so much. So that is in the American Folk Art Museum permanent collection, which makes me very happy. Look at this detail shot of this. Look at the quilting here. I mean, it's, you know, to show the white work quilt, and then this one, it's like people are still making beautiful things out of layers of cloth. You know, I mean, this isn't stuffed work, you know, by Fransoika in, what is it, 82? 81. Fransoika has passed away now, by the way. If anybody ever finds anything about Fransoika that's sort of a deep cut, right? Like I've got Quilt Engagement Treasury, I've got the Western Ohio Reserve stuff. I've got the library, and I look for Fransoika always. And because of the wonderful generosity of people sending the Quilters newsletter issues, and I'm set on those now, which is great. I've looked up Fransoika in all the Quilters newsletters, so I found some more stuff. But if you should ever, I don't know, you're reading a textile magazine from 1990, and there's Fransoika giving a big interview, please let me know. Clip it and send it, because I am hungry for more information. I'm researching Bertha Meckstroth now. That's what's up. I'm not switching until that's done, but Soika is on my radar. Okay, and yeah, this quilt is gets a lot of press. This is a quilt I've seen many times, like in just many different books. I've seen it. It's in the public domain, I'm pretty sure. Like I've seen this image like used in a lot of different places. It doesn't mean it's in the public domain, but it's so striking. I think it might be the first quilt, at least it was for a long time when you went to the American Folk Art Museum, AmFam, that it was like the first quilt that showed up when you were like looking for quilts. You know, it doesn't get much more graphically arresting than that, right? And this quilt, by the way, okay, somebody take a guess. Take a guess. I mean, anyone take a guess who wishes to. What's your date on this? What do you... Oh, I've got it up here. Yeah. What do you say? What do you say on this quilt? What's the date? Yeah, the quilting on these, right? Yeah. And maybe that's, I mean, I don't know. Okay, so 1820. Stephanie Kick says 1820. Wow. 1840. Angelina's doing 1840. 1840. Yep, 1918. Robin's going much later. She's like, no, you're a century off. 1918, people. I respect that. I like doing these games because I've said before, like, everybody has really good reason for guessing the year that they guess. And it speaks to, like, what we're learning on Quilt Nerd. I mean, we really look at a lot of quilts, you know, and so when you make a guess, it's an educated guess, and that's really cool. 1850s, Molly's going mid-century, last century, mid-century. Cheddar, 1800, 1850. Oh yeah, 1850. I'm terrible at this game. I feel like such a noob. 1875. You know what? Drew Godmother's like, I'm not making an educated guess, but I'm guessing anyway. Fair enough. Okay, so everyone was pretty darn close. Robin was a little bit off in terms of her guess, but that's okay because there's reasons why you would say what you say, and I understand. 1815. So really early 19th century, like really early, 1815. So, Cake, you were about right on. It's between 1815 and 1825, they say, New England. But I thought, here's what's crazy, is I would have guessed earlier. That's why I was...
Homemaker, I was trying for the same thing.
I'm going one
we
price.
tried this Price is Right style.
Yeah, exactly. So let's see. Yeah, exactly. There's no shame in guessing whatever you guess, even if you were wildly off. Because here's the thing: this quilt, to me, the shape of the star, like the star is made in sort of rectangles, right? Like the star itself seems really old. Like it's like some sort of, I don't know, like symbol. It's almost not an 8-pointed star like we think of them in patchwork. Because when we make an 8-pointed star, the angles, like the cleavage, you guys, it's this cleavage of the star. It's the star cleavage that kind of throws me off here. It's very deep cleavage, you know? It's very deep cleavage. And so to me, that just makes it, the symbol itself of the star, seem older or seem ancient, frankly. It just seems different. It's almost not a star. It's like this, it's beautiful, but it's kind of like I don't know. It's almost different. You know what I'm saying? What am I trying to say? Help me. It's the gin.
It's just graphically like so different than most of the things that we see from that time period.
Exactly.
The only reason I picked 1820 was the quality of the quilting, because that strikes me as very early 1800s, you know, kind of call back to the 1700s, that really ornate, like, whole cloth quilt kind of look. You know, it's almost a whole cloth quilt. They just have this giant graphic thing in the middle.
That's right.
Which is amazing.
It is amazing.
I love this quilt.
I do too. The quilting is sick. And so you've got a lot of things going on. You got feathers. I mean, let's go up here into this quadrant. You've got this kind of heart situation. I mean, that too. I mean, it's not necessarily a heart. It could be a harp, heart. Not sure. Unbelievably beautiful. This feather around this shape. I mean, it's like, God, I don't know, a lyre. Maybe it looks like a Lyre kind of thing, with that. And there's 4 of those, of course, in the corner. Feather, super traditional English. And then, what you said, Stephanie, about it being almost a whole cloth. Look at the way that, oh my God. Okay. Yeah, everybody needs this book just for this quilt. But the, it's almost a whole cloth quilt because, there's not a lot of piecing, used to great effect, but there's not a lot of piecing. There's this one central star. Oh, look at this. This is great. Look at that little piece. So that's another thing for me, is the color of the obviously naturally dyed fabric. Well, it's all naturally dyed, but it seems very home dyed, right? Or small batch dyed, and then you have these little patches.
Well, now that you bring that up, Mary, like what color do you think it was? Was it like a dark brown? Was it?
I think it's madder. I think it was brown. I do. I think it was. It's not that far off, maybe from what it is. I mean, this madder root kind of brown, but the pieces look like they did come from different vats, right? I mean, you've got that down there. So there. I mean, it's like why are you doing that scroll thing? I don't like that. So, you know, it looks like, if you really didn't know, you know, much about textiles at all, you might say, was this object in a fire or something? Was it burned? I mean, there's like, you know, I mean, not like charred, but, you know, almost like it has smoke damage or something, because it's really varied.
It's really rusty red on the one side, kind of, and then the other side's more of like a walnutty.
Yeah.
So,
it's just a lot going on. So if I would have looked at this, I would have said, I bet it came from England, and I would have put it at like 1750. So I just think it looks really old, and it turns out it's not that old. As far as early quilts go, 1815 to 1825 was made in New England. Interesting, right? I love quilts. They're so interesting. They're so great.
We know one of the other things that Mary Ann Tea Cake just brought
Yeah.
up was, things that were, brought, ideas and things that were brought from Europe or the UK. And some of us I know were in the passports, Quilt Folk Passports class that did Wales. And that quilt's got a very Wales vibe to it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I was
totally.
really, really surprised at how intricate the Welsh quilting is. I had no idea.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
there could be that influence too.
For sure. This one, I don't know. That was so fun looking at that one. I gotta look at one more. This one, I just wish there was more about these quilts. I could use my handy book stand, which I use all the time. Thank you, people. Tide Stars. There's not a lot of quilts I've seen that look like this. I mean, this is really something. 1900 to 1940, artist unidentified. Would you like to take a closer look? Yes, indeed. I would too. So do you see the stars? Actually, and I have to say, like, in the book itself, it's harder to see what's going on than it is on your screen right now. Like, you have a great opportunity, right, to look at this quilt right now, because the contrast is so low, right, with these stars, and the stars are created with ties. I mean, what? Unbelievable. Hey, Carrie Dell. Carrie Dell subscribed at Tier 1 for 9 months. You've been subscribed for 9 months. Thank you so much, Carrie Dell. I really appreciate you. I appreciate the support from all my subscribers, anybody watching the show, following the show. It's really great. I was thinking about how we were doing the co-working stream yesterday. We do it like at least 3 times a week, and it's so much fun. And I had this moment of like deep gratitude. I was like, I really like this thing in my life now. These people, like I love it. It's so great. What didn't exist? It existed a year ago, but in a different, it was great, you guys. So I'm really glad. Thank you for subscribing and supporting and watching and lurking. You can be a lurker. I love the Lurkers Lounge. They're lovely. Okay, so this is really, hey M Hex, really something, isn't it? So they're tied. It's all tied. Well, I love you too. And I got an email to send you too. I promise. So I don't have information about where it comes from. Perhaps there'll be a series of books one day. The Every Nerd's library, Every Nerd Quilt Library. And all of you can fan out across the globe and make a series of books, and one of the books can be the Quilt Nerd Guide to the American Folk Art Museum Quilt Collection. What do you think about that? I can't do it. Are you kidding? I have like 90 things going on, but you could do it. And you could write more about this quilt, and in a book form. I think that would be a great idea. So yeah, green ties and pink ties, and then these light blue ties. And that gives us the quilt that we see before us. Amazing. Isn't it wonderful? It's so wild. Look, how many ties? Oh, that's another fun thing. Are you really bored? Do you need to give a school-aged child something to do? Be like, count the ties in this quilt. Are you laughing at what I said or what someone else said? Probably what someone else said.
No, I'm laughing at that because I'm thinking, oh yes, my grandmother used to make the kids pick up sticks out of the yard. I would definitely put a child before a quilt and say, here you go, count these ties.
There you go, count the ties. Oh, and by the way, Whale, I just think you're subscribed to Tier 1. You've been subscribed for 3 months. Thank you so much. I want to say Owale so much. It's such a beautiful word. But, AKA Renee. Whale, AKA Renee. AAA Whale. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. I enjoy being able to do this program. If nobody was here, I might still do it, but wouldn't help my self-confidence very much. Okay. It's so cool up close, says Lisa Riggs. Agreed. And you know what you could do with a quilt like this? You could make it for the purpose of having a child count all the ties, but you could also put one like different colored tie somewhere, just one, and be like, find the gold one. And it's just like slightly different. But this does remind me of the whole I Spy thing. People like a patch, a very scrappy scrap quilt, has one particular patch that you tell a kid to find. Oh, no, it's not that. You repeat one. You hear about this? Like you make a scrap quilt with just a bazillion squares and 2 patches match, and so the kid tries to find the patch that matches. I think that's, why would someone make that up and not actually do it? So I think it's a thing that is done, or that has been done. It's cute. Hours of fun with this one. I really do want to know, like, on average, how many ties are in one of these quadrants. Well, anyway, I think I'm going to bump that. Carrie, I'm not going to be able to give you that information you need for AQSG. I need to count ties in a quilt. Isn't that a good idea? Maybe not. Oh, yeah. Okay. Let's do this. Speaking of books, sometimes I just want to get into these books. Got a lot of books, man. We have a video to watch today. But not yet. Not yet. Right now, we're going to talk about this woman, Janet Bolton, and her work. And Marianne, who's in the chat right now, watching the show. Let's see. Wait, what's on the back? Oh, sorry, Renee, you did not. Or I want to say, can I say whale? I just like that because we have another Renee too. AAA? Can I call her AAA? What should I do? It's such a distinctive name, and it's got all these different parts, right? So there's AAA, whale, Wale. I just think that sounds great. AKA Renee. There's all these parts. What am I supposed to do? I don't know. It matters.
I don't know. We have so many cakes around here,
It's true.
Everybody's always confusing me with Marianne, and then, there's more Stephanies than one,
There's more Stephanies. It's true. Oh, Lord. Okay. It's a crack up. So I wish I could show you what's on the back, but I don't know. I'm afraid. Janet Bolton. So Marianne Tea Cake, aka Renee. No, I'm just kidding. She took a workshop with this woman, Janet Bolton. Look at this woman. Don't you want to? Who doesn't want to take a workshop with this lady? I mean, hello. Like, I'll make your life better. Are you prepared to look at my book and make things with fabric? Yes, Janet Bolton, I am. What kinds of things might you be making with fabric before I commit to your workshop? Well, I don't know. How about something like this? How about something wonderful like that? She makes these fabric pictures, everybody. And so we're going to learn a little bit about Janet Bolton as I scroll through some images. Like this. Yeah, let me dive in here a little bit. That's a little house. This piece is called Barn on the Moors. And she has this wonderful style. She's a very accomplished artist. And let me read to you a little bit. This is from textileartist.org. So I have the book here, and we're going to look at some stuff that I scanned in. But I'm also going to read to you from an article I found on the internet from textileartist.org. I don't know what year this was published on the internet, but yeah, I'm not sure. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know the year, but it would have been within the last 10 years or something. Where's my thing? Okay. Janet Bolton, Modern Textile Collage. That's what the article is called. Okay. Let me go up here. And actually, hold on. I'm gonna go to this. There's a lot of things to look at. Okay. Quote: Janet Bolton creates her tranquil and harmonious textile art pictures using the simplest of hand sewing techniques: collage, applique, and straight stitch. Her inspiration comes from visual experiences, memories, and imagination. Sometimes a fabric's texture or history inspires a connection. For Janet, the placement of each element within the composition is important to her work in order to evoke a particular feeling. She favors an uncluttered approach with good use of space to highlight the collaged areas, their color, and composition. I didn't mention that she's in the UK. Maybe I did. Yeah. Janet trained in fine arts. Look at this little drawing here. This is from her book. Janet trained, pardon me, in fine arts before moving into textile art. That's so funny. What do we say about that distinction? Boo! She trained in fine arts before moving into textile arts. Like, oh, I'm sorry, don't you mean before slumming it in textile art? No. Anyway, whatever. She's been on the Craft Council. Okay, yeah, right, the UK Craft Council. Selected Index of Makers since 1985. Her work is held in both public and private collections. She's become a master of interlacing her home and work commitments to suit her desired lifestyle. Well, that's interesting because, so Marianne Tea Cake let me know in an hey Padma, let me know in an email when she sent this wonderful picture of Janet from the workshop that she took. Marianne took the workshop from Janet. Here is a picture of that workshop as well. Well, dang, the merch table is on point. Damn, that's a good looking merch table. Marianne, you surely bought something from that merch table. Makes me want to buy something. So does Janet with her tea. I can't. Oh God. Oh, that's sweet. That's sweet. She's like, this is my tea and that's my merch table. But Marianne, you said in your email that she told the class that she grew up in a very well-to-do family, so well-to-do that she did not have to work, and she would never have to work if she did not wish to work. So she wanted to study art, and her father was like, whatever will make you happy, darling. So when this article's like, she's a master of interlacing her home and work commitments to suit her desired lifestyle. Well, I don't know why everything makes me laugh these days. I was laughing yesterday too. I would also I would master interlacing my home and work commitments to suit my desired lifestyle if I had a maid and a cook. It would be great. I would be masterful at blending these things. I'm not trolling. I'm just having fun. Yeah. So, but this is she's obviously extremely talented. Let's see what else we can read. So this is an interview. Janet will share how her career developed and give advice for aspiring textile artists. And she's going to describe her process a little bit too. So textile artist asks, what initially attracted you? Whoops, sorry, wrong one. To textiles as a medium. Look at that. Isn't that great? This is from the book. At the Seaside, this little piece is called. Bolton says, economic necessity first led me to work with textile. Now, wait a minute. I needed some heavy curtains to cover some draughty sash windows, but had a limited budget, so I made them. I have so many questions. I'm confused now. Maybe your father was like, we're cutting you off so you can learn how to be a person. but you don't ever have to work again once you're done learning those lessons. Okay, I needed some heavy curtains. Okay, yeah. I made patchwork quilts to the required size and lined them with old blankets. Oh, interesting. The curtains did the job well and were a pleasure to work on. At that time in the early 70s, quilts were not as popular in the UK as they are today, but I had always loved them. After making my curtains, I started to work on a much smaller scale, making images using fabric in preference to paint. I was talking to a painter yesterday who also loves doing things in fabric. I love these figures. I mean, I can't. Drafty. Okay, thanks, Mother Nature. Hey, Quack Quack Cat. Hi. Me just here at my desk interlacing my home and work commitments. I can't. You're the best. That's so funny. Hey, Scrapitude. I'd be so interlaced. I love a polka dot too. You know who loves a polka dot more than anybody? Marianne Fonz. That woman. She'll do a lot for a polka dot. Okay, these are swatches from this book by Janet. I mean, this I could look at all day. Just these little swatches. Okay, let me read a little bit. Stop flipping around on the screen just for a second. She loved the work of Elizabeth Allen, so I'll grab a picture from her too. She was a retired seamstress in Kent. This Elizabeth Allen. And I'm paraphrasing, obviously. Bolton was inspired by her. So let's see. Yeah. The question is, what were your early influences, or who were your early influences? So now maybe let's hear I've heard, from someone that she was very wealthy. She says she was a little matchstick girl. Let's hear from Janet. Explain yourself, Janet Bolton. Quote, when I was growing up in rural Lancashire, the cotton industry was still thriving. People knew about fabric and appreciated its qualities. My father enjoyed making toys for us when we were children. I grew up seeing his pure pleasure of making things and working with his hands. As a child, I'd always enjoyed arranging objects. I would place flower heads in soft ground to make imaginary gardens, or arrange autumn fruits and seeds in shoebox lids for the school nature table. I loved drawing and painting. I even chose to take biology A level simply because I enjoyed doing the explanatory drawings. After school, I went to art college to study fine art. While I was in the printmaking department, I was seduced by seeing lengths of fabric coming in to be printed on. I had not realized how much the love of fabric had become a part of me. We were encouraged to try different media and techniques, but also to follow our own instincts. Instead of continuing with painting, I took up printmaking. This was a huge mistake, and I didn't enjoy the process involved. There's nothing like trying out something new. Hang on, let me get, oh, this is really cool. Look at this quilt. It's called Navajo Eye Dazzler Rug. Oh, I love it. I love it so much. Nothing like trying something and finding out you don't like it. Or there's nothing like trying out something and then finding you don't enjoy it. It can be a negative experience, but the end result made me realize how I wanted to work and in which area. And the question is, so this is not a pictorial, sorry, I'm breaking off the text for a second. This is not a pictorial piece, obviously, but like, look at her use of color. It's so great. That really, I mean, it's my favorite red, that like lipstick red to orangey base, sort of tomato red, and then blue, royal blue. And you know what's interesting is like that kind of tea, it looks like the fabric's almost been dyed with tea, or some natural thing. It's uneven, almost like a, yeah, kind of like, and like the quilt we looked at earlier, sort of the dye is inconsistent in the most wonderful way. I love it. Big stitch. Would you call that big stitch, Steph? Is that big stitch quilting, or, well, do we know the dimension of this? That would help, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't call it big stitch unless it's like a really big quilt.
Right.
It just looks like consistently larger stitches.
Yeah. Okay.
Or more visible stitches, I guess. Maybe she used a darker colored thread.
Okay. Yeah. Really consistent, whatever the size, right? Really, really cute. I don't know what is she doing here? Like, it's so well designed how she's put all this stuff together, right? And it's like, what makes it so? I mean, she's got like this is a moment in the piece that's lower contrast. It's not black, that little piece of fabric. So like the effect when you pull out, it's so wonderful, but like, I don't know. Like, what is she doing there? She's moving your eye around, I guess, and that's what, great design, great, aesthetics, whatever. That's what happens, is that your eye wants to travel, right? Your eye looks around and finds little surprises and little moments and things. But when I look at something like this, it's like, oh, I love this piece so much. Why? Like, what is it about it? Because it's not just the colors, but it's the colors. It's not just the prints, but it is the prints. I mean, this is so fundamental, it almost seems silly or dumb to ask, but like, why? What has she done here? Why is it so good? Because you can give someone else who's good at different things, the same materials or a selection of materials, and they wouldn't do it like this. I mean, Sherlock says, hey, Sherlock, lipstick red, blue, and polka dot is sublime. Agreed. Kitty's lurking today. You didn't turn off the video because these quilts today are my jam. Hey, man, lurk, hang out, check in, drop out, tune in, turn off, all that stuff. I'm glad to see you, Kitty, though. It's really good to see you. Why call it Navajo? Yeah, I don't know. Navajo Eye Dazzler Rug. I have no idea. I mean, I don't know those motifs well enough from like Navajo art to say. I mean, I don't know. Half square triangle motifs are pretty universal, but does she say anything about it? Hold on. Let me see. It's page 15. I'll look. Anyway, so I've asked these questions. What do you all say? Movement. Susan Armichael says movement. That's great. Quack Quack Cat. Are the bold solids half square triangles? Yes. The bold solids. Yes. Like these. These? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, what else do people say? Well balanced. Yes. AAA. I'm calling you AAA. Yeah, agreed. Balance. Angelina says, I like the use of solids and the fact that she gives these pops of color, lots of space. That's good. Oh, I love analyzing things with you people. Yes, pops of color have lots of space. Right. She's floating, if you will, you could say, when we make a quilt and we put wide sashing, around blocks, that we're floating those blocks. So she's kind of floating these bars of color. She's giving all that space in between her strips of piecing, right? Repeating pattern, contrast texture. Susan's like, I got this. I can analyze the crap out of this. Mary, you don't like primary colors because they remind you of the circus. Well, okay, Pama, this is very interesting. I have said I don't like primary colors because they remind me of the circus, yet this is red, blue, and yellow. Excellent observation. True. I would say it's the saturation of the circus, of the primary colors, that's the problem. Like circus polka dots, that's like very red, bright red, bright blue, bright yellow. All the same frequency, all the same volume. Freaks me out. Not into it. But 1000%, like shade-wise, this fully, it would be categorized in the primary colors, like category, not the tertiary colors or whatever, secondary colors. Agreed. Completely agreed. Good point. If it was bright yellow instead of this muted brown thing, I'd be like, skip. You wouldn't even be seeing it on this show. You wouldn't even know this quilt exists. But yeah, you're right. Yes, exactly, with an H. Your eye goes all over the quilt. It's interesting. It really is. Those old eye charts. Hey, Bridgewater. Yeah. The 2-color borders. Yes. So that's another thing here. I guess it's just a day to linger. But there's a couple. She's got a red stripe going on up here. That's even piping maybe. Up on the top. That's just on the top and on the bottom. Okay. On the 2 long sides. But then there's this, and this is what she does. So let's go look at some more of her work, okay, instead of lingering on this some more. But there's this, it might even be, it's not ribbon, but it looks almost like a grosgrain ribbon. This like, there's very low contrast between those 2 pieces. That makes it look like a prayer rug or something. I don't know. She's great. I really, really like her stuff. Hang on. Oh yeah, let's look at this here. This is a book cover, I think. Okay, back to this interview. Hold on. So the question, what was your route to becoming an artist? Back to textile.org interview. Janet Bolton says, quote, when I was home looking after my children, I developed my own way of working to suit my lifestyle and responsibilities. Yeah, stop thinking about her. I don't know. I made fabric bags and purses to sell at local craft markets. At these markets, I used my small textile pictures as stand decorations. No one was framing small pieces as art in those days. To my surprise, they were much appreciated, and this led me to being offered a stand at the Chelsea Craft Fair. Cool. After a while, other opportunities flooded in. I became a member of the Contemporary Applied Arts, UK, Craft Council Selected Index. Yes, I spent many years going with the Craft Council of New York to exhibit at the New York Craft Fair with them. Wow. She has published many books. Stephanie Cake, I made a bunch of affiliate links for Janet Bolton books. I
got them.
You got them? Okay, great. Thank you. I meant to tell you that. At least I did make the links, though. So she has done a bunch of different books, y'all, and it's very, very interesting to see. She's got children's books, and the art changes a little bit, but it's very consistent too across her work. And let me show you this. This is so great. I mean, you know, the work, when I say it changes, it's, you know, there's differences over the years of what she's trying out and doing, but this always this very consistent sweetness to her things. And I wanted to read something I read in the book that I love. This is from the introduction of the Patchwork Folk Art book. This one. Here's what she says, and I loved how she put this. Throughout childhood, she just spoke about that a little bit, but I enjoyed making things, drawing and painting, collecting and arranging objects. And she talks about these different activities she liked. She mentioned the flowers and things that she would move around in the dirt. As children, each autumn, we collected seeds and berries to make specimen boxes, each item being arranged and labeled in box lids. It became a favorite activity, and I spent many hours ordering my collection until I was happy with its appearance. The memory of this childhood enjoyment is one of the reasons I believe today I prefer to work with fabric rather than paint. Now listen to this. This is the sentence. Manipulating fabric allows me the same freedom of lifting, replacing, and reorganizing. And I was like, oh, yeah. When you're painting, you're putting it down. The paint goes down, it stays down. But when you're working with fabric, whether you're doing something like this or making patchwork, making a quilt, when we work with fabric, when you work with fabric, you make shapes, whether it's a little sheep or a square or a triangle, right? But you make shapes and you place them, and then you can lift them off again and replace them. And it's like, oh, that's super fun. That's, to me, it's like, oh, that's so nice. It's so freeing. This idea that you could change something's place, like where it is. Like you have a pink triangle that you put down or against a black triangle, and you're like, I don't know, I don't like that. I don't like that. I'm going to put that pink triangle over here instead. And like, I just loved how she put it. I just never thought really how that is the way, isn't it? My manipulating fabric allows me the same freedom of lifting, replacing, and reorganizing. I just loved it. I just loved it. Yeah. Oh, I gotta catch up. Hey, so on Positive Threads, you subscribed with Prime. You subscribed for 9 months. Thank you so much. Thank you very, very, very much for your support of the show. I appreciate it. See? Marianne's got it. Yeah. Can I snip that quote? Heck yeah, I can snip that quote. Okay. Here, can I snip that quote? Well, what if I was like, books allow me to replace no, not really. Okay, so here, I don't know. What do you mean by snip that quote? I mean, I know what you mean, but let me just say it one more time, and then I'll find a way to put it somewhere. Can you put it in the chat, Steph, if I read it slow?
I can do an actual clip of the quote.
Oh God. Okay, that would be better. Here, I'm gonna set it up real nice. You ready? God. See, I don't even know how to do that. I'm like, oh no, I need to learn how. Oh God. Okay, anyway, here we go. Janet Bolton, the textile artist from the UK, says about making fabric collages, she says, quote, manipulating fabric allows me the same freedom of lifting, replacing, and reorganizing. Unquote. I didn't do it right. Let me try it one more time. Second take. I promise. Here we go. You ready? This is gonna be so this is gonna be so easy this way. Okay, so in this book, Patchwork Folk Art by Janet Bolton, she's talking about how when she was a kid, she would make little dioramas and little, shadow boxes and stuff, and she just loved it so much. And she was a painter for a while, but she realized that fabric was what she really loved to work with, and it was this childhood enjoyment, that she got when she started moving fabric around, and it was different than painting. And here's what she says. She says it's so lovely the way she puts it. She says, quote, manipulating fabric allows me the same freedom of lifting, replacing, and reorganizing. I don't know if that was good. They call me One Take Mary, but not this morning. Anyway. So yeah. Making TV stuff takes so long because you have to do everything a million times. Here's Janet. See, she can move her fabric around however she wants. If she painted that curtain, that would be it. But she can move her pieces all around. I like that. Ooh, that's a cool idea. You know, stitching little shapes onto your curtains. That's another thing you can have a kid do. Just start stitching little shapes onto the curtains. It'd probably be adorable, actually. Probably be adorable. All right. Interview question says, tell us a bit about, oh, you know what I'm going to do? I have a video. To show you, but here it's going to be, I should have thought of this before. This is going to be cool. It's a video, but it has no sound. It's just footage of one of her workshops. So while I read some of this interview to you, I am going to play that video because it's just kind of atmospheric. Hang on, Janet Bolton. I like it. So it's from Hope and Elvis. That's what the channel is, Hope and Elvis. And you should always subscribe. If you like a person's video, like it. I hit the like button. And I'm just gonna, there's a little bit of music here. Listen, so, hold on. Come on. Hold on. You know, so it's nice, sweet little music, but instead of fighting with that, I'm just going to read to you some of this interview while we look. So thank you, Hope and Elvis. Cake, if you search YouTube for Janet Bolton artist, you'll find the link. Sorry. Okay, so let's do it, and I'll read some more of this. So this is footage of her like doing a workshop. You see Hope and Elvis. So subscribe if you care about that. And subscribe if you like the video. You know what I mean. So textile.org. Tell us a bit about your chosen fabric techniques and how you use them, Janet Bolton. Janet Bolton says, I use the simplest of hand sewing techniques. Usually I work directly with the fabrics rather than transposing an idea worked out in another medium. She also said earlier, my workroom is in my house, and this has always been a necessity for me. My home and working life are completely interwoven. This comes up again. Isn't it amazing how many words that we use to describe life? Oh, isn't it amazing how many words that we use to describe life have a textile connection, right? Interwoven and all that. Okay. Janet says, inspiration springs from my memory and imagination, or following a visual experience. My ideas change and develop. Hold on, where's my thing? Hold on. Okay. My ideas change and develop as the work progresses. I allow each piece to evolve and take on a life of its own. An idea gives rise to each artwork, but I'm also pleased when people bring their own interpretation to an image that is different from my own. I select my color palette, then arrange and rearrange pieces of cut-out fabrics onto a prepared background. I finish the piece by turning in the edges of the shaped materials. This is almost like a sketching process, she says, sketching with scare quotes, whereby the shapes can be altered or even removed if necessary. I spend more time taking elements away rather than adding them. Oh, that's good, you guys, that's good. I spend more time taking elements away rather than adding them. The notion less is more is meaningful for me. I enjoy leaving empty space in my compositions. This is the most time-consuming stage, but there's no sense in rushing, as the journey is so enjoyable. I create my own imaginary world. Then I use stitch in various ways as a drawn line. The stitching keeps the pieces in place, as well as adding a textural element to the finished work. I mount each piece onto card and frame it in a purpose-made shallow box frame. I work on several pieces at the same time. Moving from one to another allows me to reassess each one with a fresh eye. Some pieces, I call them put-togethers. They remain unframed, as they're really just an excuse to place selected fabrics together. Marianne says, I think she always starts with a chicken. We all loved it. That's great. Yeah, that's great. Chickens are really cute. I think I've got a good one queued up to share. My work moves in circles, she says. I often go back to reinterpret old ideas in new ways. I refer to some themes time and time again, as they have proven to be the perfect subject matter to explore new ideas of color, composition, and intent. They ask about inspiration. I don't know. Inspiration, it's hard to answer that question in a short answer, so sometimes, like, I'd rather hear about her work, you know, like the actual technique. For me, you can read this if you want to know more about that. Let's see. How has your work developed since you began, they ask. And how do you see it evolving in the future? Bolton says, my working methods, by the way, I think what we're seeing now is the students' work, right? I'm pretty sure. My working methods have remained the same over the years, although new inspiration comes at all times and from the most unexpected places. These days, I probably incorporate more found objects and even use them as backgrounds to work on. Frequently, an object I may have collected many years ago is just right for what I'm currently working on. Okay, I'm going to take this over here. I'm going to tell you to pause because I think that's student work, and I'd rather show you this as we kind of close up on Bolton. Hang on. I want to show you, I took some, chickens. There's some chickens. 2 black hens. They're just, it's so dear, isn't it? These little chickens.
They almost have that Harriet Powers quality of like, sort of, I think that it is a very good artist who can take something and sort of apply that naivete to it, like really strip it down to its basic, and you still know what it is, and it's still delightful. You know what I mean?
Yes. Just that, yes, it's like she's done, and it's true. She has made so many chickens that she knows exactly how, and she's looked at so many chickens. It's like if you're that good, it's because you have looked at a chicken and made so many chickens that you know that actually the back of a chicken like sticks straight up. It's like you think like I'll be like, okay, this is how I think a chicken looks, and it's like, no, it's actually not. But it takes a long time. Simple is complicated, basically, right? Simple is complicated. But you're right, and just the. Again, it's that what makes it so good. I guess that I didn't anticipate thinking about that fundamental question looking at Janet Bolton's work, but it's like, it is the question to ask, is like, what is she doing here? Why is this so good? It seems like it's so simple. They're just small little pieces of cloth, but it's masterful, I think. And then, here, this reminds me of a Yvonne Wells moment. Right? And Yvonne Wells kind of does this same kind of fabric collage kind of thing, doesn't she? Simple shapes, but look at this Flossie, the little cow. Oh, for God's sakes. And look, one of her legs is a different color. Just one. Just the one on the far side. She looks like nappy, like curly, like soft and wonderful, doesn't she? With that inky black, it looks like she's like a fetlock kind of thing going on here. It's just fabric. And you know what else there is to here? There's kind of a, sorry, I haven't been paying attention to the chat as much because I'm trying to figure out what art is. I just can't, I can't, it's really difficult. But there's a Japanese design quality too. This sort of kawaii thing. Down here by my head, this seems just seems very kawaii to me. Interesting. Ugh, it's so good. Hang on. This book that I have in my hand that I scanned from, I wanted to make sure to show you. It is a how-to book. See, this is instructions, right? Workshop 4. And so this is an interesting image because this is in process, right? This is a sheep in the making. So this particular book, the Patchwork Folk Art, is teaching you how to do the techniques. This is how it looks when it's at this stage, and then she gives you these drawings. I think this is, if you're at all interested in this, this book is pretty good. I mean, I haven't reviewed many books that teach these kinds of techniques, but I mean, it's really beautiful to look at, and it seems pretty simple. They're simple instructions. It does seem simple. And we just said simple is complicated. So you might not be the next Janet Bolton after you read this book, but it could put you on your way. So variations on kite tails and children. Look at those wonderful little... She's gifted. She's just gifted. That's all there is to it. Interesting little stitches. Great. Really, really great. Look at them. They're being pulled backward by the wind. It's just great. Oh, God. Human beings, you know, at their best are like the coolest. Oh, look at that. So that's 13 and a half by 3.5 inches. Wow. That's pretty small. I mean, that's a foot and some. 3.5 inches wide. Ain't too wide. Well, yeah, interesting. People goofing off here. Let's see, what are they saying? I may need to try this again. You better. I mean, you contributed to this show, so we're expecting you to show everything Janet Bolton taught you. Okay, here's the last image, and then cake. Can we do a cake break? Can you entertain the folks? Okay, good. And then we'll look at Rachel Clark, and then we'll set you on your way. Triangle quilt. In fact, you know what? How about we do our cake break right now? And this can be the background. What do you think about that? But I like the cake break slide. Hang on. I like to see your face.
I like that quilt though.
You do? Okay.
Yeah, you know I love a busy quilt. A scrappy, busy, I love it.
That's true. How about I do this? How about, I didn't have the chat on. Maybe that was okay. I mean on screen. Let's do this. I know what to do. Uh-oh. Hold on. Just a minute. What's going on? Hold on. I don't know what's... Oh, I know what I did. Okay. Hi, we're back. We're back. I'm gonna put up a thing. Yep. I'm gonna make this as part of the quilt, Steph. The cake break screen. I didn't anticipate doing this, but that's why we have to do it like this. It's not my favorite thing to do, you know, moving things around on the screen like that, but until someone designs a better mousetrap, this is what it's going to be, and I like it. I'm going to put the chat over here, and then I'm going to run and take my little break. Okay. There you go. Okay, cake, you've got the cake break framed in the quilt that you like. How about that?
How exciting.
Okay. Okay, I will be back in a minute.
Okay. So Lisa has a good question. What are the details for the next Quilt Nerd on Parade? Yeah, I thought I would just real quick run through some dates for you guys because it helps me stay on track. So Quilt Nerd on Parade will be at the regular show time on the 10th. So that is not tomorrow. That's the 3rd, but a week from tomorrow. So, and I think typically, Robin might know this better than I do because she's worked on the schedule with Mary, but typically we ask that you get your submissions in like a day or two before. So it gives Mary time to build the PowerPoint and everything. Robin, do you know if you know the link for that? I don't have it pulled up. The submission link. Could you put it in the chat? If not, I'll put it in the chat when I'm done. So let's see. That is when Quilt Nerd on Parade is. And then on the 16th, that'll be our next Friday morning show. I know so many of you love a Friday morning. So want to highlight that. And then the week of the 18th, we have, okay, Angelina says the deadline is the 8th at midnight. Yeah, that's pretty standard. So the week of the 18th is when we will have some fun holiday week stuff. And the 18th is a Sunday. And so for T2 and T3 subscribers, that will be your Sunday social. And, Word Nerd. Yeah, if you have it, so Robin doesn't have to scramble for it. That would be great. I appreciate it. And let's see. I guess I probably can make an executive decision and say we'll probably do the December giveaway that week, because either the 20th or the 23rd, because we have shows on both of those days. And then, the end of the year, Mary's going to take some time off. So December 27th, there will not be a show. That's a Tuesday. That's the Tuesday right after Christmas. I think we'll probably all be kind of worn out from the holidays, so that'll be a time for us all to rest and be ready for 2023 quilt nerding. And for those of you guys that don't go out and whoop it up on New Year's Eve, there will be a New Year's Eve show. So, and I did miss the one this past year, but I definitely have it on my calendar for this year, so it is sure to be a wild time. So that is the quick rundown, and I'll do these again tomorrow. So, because I know, so it's easy to get this time of year. It's easy to forget. So I wanted to really quick tell you guys about what I did the other day. And I think Mother Nature's here, and I think I saw Lady K. So for my Mid-Atlantic friends, if you have never been to the Maryland Museum of History and Culture, I think I've got it right. I should. It's, I live in this town. They are a really interesting museum downtown Baltimore. They have it's all Maryland history related, but they have they've had an exhibition going on now for, I think it's been up for a year. They actually extended it because of COVID, but it's called Wild and Untamed. And it is a exhibit of Dr. William Dunton's quilts and or Baltimore album quilts, and Dr. William Dunton's involvement in that. He is or was a occupational therapy guy. He was a psychologist or psychiatrist, I can't remember which, and he worked for Shepherd Pratt here in Baltimore, which is a big medical center, mental health facility, and he did a lot of occupational therapy research for people that were struggling from mental illness. And of course, back in the early 20th century, people who struggled with mental illness were, not treated well sometimes, and they were locked up. They threw away the key. But Dr. Dunton was really interested in rehabilitating people, or giving them something that made them feel useful and that helped their mental illness symptoms often. So he had set up there was a weaving workshop at Shepherd Pratt, and he got really, really, really interested in the process of quilting. And his mother actually made some quilted things, although I don't think she made Baltimore album quilts. And that ultimately was the thing that he got really interested in, was the Baltimore album quilt. And he apparently was absolutely crazy for this stuff. So I wanted to read you something that the museum stated about him, and they had an example of, which I thought was just so interesting. So they said, "It is sometimes challenging to discern whether Dunton placed more importance on quilts or on his career. The archive that Dunton gifted to the Baltimore Museum of Art contained many medical documents, including official forms, license renewals, and letters of patient concerns requesting advice." And so the Maryland Museum of History and Culture, they borrowed a lot of stuff from the Baltimore Museum of Art. And so they say on the back of every document, Dunton mapped out quilt square dimensions, dates, and descriptions of quilts. And so they have an example, and it's the piece of paper that the man would have to renew his, I think it's to renew his membership in the Baltimore County Medical Association. So he had to send dues along with this piece of paper. On the back of it, he has written down a list of quilts. And so there's all these dates, like 1903, 1831, 1830, and he's had a description of the quilts. So you're like, okay, this is a doctor, but he is so clearly loony gaga over quilts. He would be so great here as a quilt nerd. And so I wanted to share that with you guys because, I think sometimes we go out and people are like, meh, quilts. You know, why would you cut something up and put it back together again? But they're our forefathers, our Dr. Duntons of the past, were just as crazy about quilts. And they're the people that kept this stuff going, you know? I mean, I think many of the quilts he collected probably would have, you know, been scattered to the winds if it wasn't for, you know, his dedication and interest, as well as, you know, some other people in Maryland that kind of, you know, preserved this very short-lived type of quilt. There's only been about 300 Baltimore album quilts identified.
Really?
Now, you know, I know it's a type of, you know, people kind of, I think, saw it and were like, ooh, I want to make one too. And so they kind of took off on these different, their own takes on the Baltimore album quilt. But, you know, I guess we probably all scoff a little bit at, you know, the definition of this or that. But I think what they define, particularly as the Baltimore album quilt, has certain elements to it, and he preserved a bunch of them. And it was so exciting. I took a million pictures. I will share them with Mary. I know she wanted to do a Dr. Dutton thing in the future, so I'll have all those quilts. But, you know, we look at these Baltimore album quilted books, and, you know, they're stunning. But then to actually have your face like 3 inches from one, and I will tell you guys, I set off the alarm a couple times in there.
No, you did. You did?
And my face up against some stuff. And it's funny because I guess in, you know, modern museums that have all the nice new modern features, it's like a little, it's like a motion detector. And so you get too close and you set it off and it goes, and it's like this loud overhead, like ding dong. And I'm like, oh my God.
Wow.
So,
you know.
On top of that,
Yes, please, go on. Please, I'm loving it.
I don't want to take the cake break forever.
No.
If you guys are familiar with Claire McCardle, now we were talking, I mean, to bring it all back around, Twilight Zone music.
Yeah.
Claire McCardle was a fashion designer in like the 30s, 40s, 50s. She put pockets in everything. She was like, a lady needs pockets.
That's right.
And she, oh my gosh, she was amazing. The clothing is so cool. She was doing stuff, you know, at this time when women in fashion were like, which it surprises me because there were so many women in fashion, you know, like at the turn of the century, there were, you know, a number of women, but she was, you know, I guess it was like that 1930s, 1940s, 1950s, like, oh, ladies have nothing to contribute kind of attitude. And she went up against some like, you know, real patriarchy.
Yeah, sure.
They had quotes that were like, I was floored, the way she was treated. But her clothing was so amazing, and just looking at it, I was like, oh, look at that pantsuit. She must have been like doing stuff in the 70s too. No, she was making these awesome little pantsuits like in the 30s and 40s, which was unheard of.
That's so great.
So yeah, her show just opened. So again, if you will be in the Mid-Atlantic anytime between now and like I think mid-year next year, you can see Claire McCardle's stuff too.
At the what? Where is it at?
It's at the Maryland Museum of History and Culture.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
It's downtown Baltimore. It is right near all the other museums. So if you do end up here, you can hit the Walters. You can hit the Baltimore Museum of Art. It's all down there. Yeah, and it was so amazing. I was just absolutely thrilled on Wednesday when I did that.
I'm so glad that you did it. And how long is that one up? The Baltimore album?
Yeah, so Wild and Untamed is actually, it's over, like it should have been done in September, and they extended it to January. So Word Nerd, I don't know if you have any reason to come up here again for the holidays, but you might be able to catch it. You know, those of you that live here, you still have a couple weeks, but yeah, it's not up for long.
Wow. Cool. I'm so glad that you got to see it. I mean, and the Dr. Dutton, I mean, it's like talking that book about, you know, 12 like quilt people, right, that people should know about.
Interesting cat.
More about, we got to talk about him. By the way,
he wrote a book.
Yeah,
he wrote a book about quilts.
I know, which I've never read. I don't even have. That's so lame. I got to do that.
It's impossible to find because it was self-published. They have a copy of it at the museum, but yeah, it was self-published. It's really hard to find.
Interesting. How long? How long is it? Like, you know, can you?
Yeah, I mean, it looks like your standard, you know, mid-century, not very interesting looking, you know, inch and a half tall book, you know. Yeah,
I know exactly. I know exactly the book you're talking about. Just like, like
nondescript looking, not many pictures.
no
you know.
dust jacket, no, yeah, like paper that looks like it's made of, I don't know, old clothes.
Something like that. Yeah,
Something like
yeah.
that.
But what is interesting is he did include a chapter about quilts in his occupational therapy book, and then he went, you know what? That is simply not enough. I'm going to write a whole book about quilts.
Yeah, I love it. He was like, this is for the birds. I'm gone quilting. Just turn that
Yep.
turn that
And
sign on.
therefore, he was inducted into the Quilters Hall of Fame.
That's right. He
Yeah.
is in there. Fascinating.
I'm obsessed with Dr. Dutton.
What's that? You're hot sauce?
I'm obsessed with Dr.
I
Dutton.
thought you said I'm hot sauce for Dr. Dutton. Like as in I'm hot because
I am hot sauce
I'm
for
hot
Dr.
sauce.
Dutton.
Like I'm hot sauce for that guy. Like that's cute. I'm just saying we just birthed a slang term because you know what? Here's where my mind was with that cake is that you said I'm just like Lady Gaga over these quilts. And I was like, oh, because I was doing a thing and I was like, oh, that's really good. I never heard that. And so what I thought you were saying in my mind was I'm hot for Dr. Dutton, which isn't totally characteristic of you to say something like that, but that's what I heard. And then I thought you said I'm hot sauce for him. And I am saying right now, you heard it here first, dude, have you seen fill in the blank? I am so hot sauce for them. That is great. Okay, can I clip that? Forget Janet Bolton and her dumb little drawings in fabric. Sorry.
Oh, no. Now, don't say that.
I know,
about
I'm
Janet.
kidding. I'm totally kidding.
But
I'm
yes,
I'm
because I'm
kidding.
hot sauce for Janet, too.
I know, no, I'm hot sauce for Janet. No, I was totally joking. I love Janet Bolton stuff completely. It was silly, but yeah, that's super fun. I'm hot sauce for this. Okay, maybe it's just a Quilt Nerd thing. Maybe it's just something we say. That's just like part of what we do now. Get hot sauce about stuff. By the way, AAA, you said something about. It was a while ago. During our documentation project, we saw the last quilt made by a group of women at the state mental hospital in the 1950s. A new director came in and discontinued that part of the recreation program. I just saw that comment. AAA, like, what state are you in? I mean, that's very, 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 very interesting to me. Hot sauce emote. Oh, that's a good idea. It's a thing. Thank you, AAA. Hot sauce. I'm hot sauce for it. I'm hot sauce for, you know, fill in the blank. Okay, good. So let's do just a little bit more today, everybody. Let's do a little bit more. And AAA, I'd love to know more about that. Like, that's very interesting. Oregon. Huh. Fascinating. Okay. The documentation project of which you speak, do you mean a recent one? Like a more recent one? Whoops, I gotta take that off. Because I've got a couple Oregon state documentation books, but I just really want to see that quilt, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, so we're going to close the show off today looking at, let me make the chat a little bit smaller. I just want to talk about this woman because we talked about fabric, wearable art the other day. It was so fun to look at those things. And so I showed a few different artists' work briefly, and then we really were watching that video and talking about the art anyway, but I showed a couple pictures of work by Rachel Clark, and I didn't talk about her as much as I wanted to because she's very interesting, talented, and great. This image and the interview that I have to read is from Susie Quilts, from Susie Quilts' blog. I don't have a date on it. I always look, I really do look at the top of a blog post, the end of a blog post. I'm sure I could do some sort of cache data thing to find it. Sometimes I don't have that much time, but this is within the past 10 years, probably, and this image also comes from Susie Quilt's blog. And Susie writes, we're back with another amazing, inspiring fiber artist. If there ever was an artist who can inspire you to just do you, it's Rachel Clark. Rachel Clark's one-of-a-kind wearable pieces. This is Rachel Clark. Hold on. Wearable pieces, right? Wearable art are some of the most colorful, intricate, and personal examples of fiber art I've ever seen, says Susie Williams. Rachel Clark is a quilter, but she's also a fashion designer, storyteller, and highly quotable sage who has as much wisdom as she has creativity. I can't wait to introduce you to her in blog form. And then there's a quote from Rachel Clark. Look, oh, I love this. God, it's great. Look at this coat. It's so neat. Some of these images are from the Susie Quilts blog. Some of them are from elsewhere, as I read these things to you. Okay. Rachel Clark says, quote, "I just think that everybody has a story. How you tell your story is important. It defines who you are and also leaves a footprint, where you're coming from, and hopefully where you're going," unquote. Susie writes, "The story of Rachel's life and the people who encouraged her to pursue sewing is not a path without hardships. She grew up in the segregated South as a child. Grew up in the segregated South as the child, grandchild, and great-grandchild of seasoned sewists. Clark was raised by strong, creative women who led by example, showing her that even though a department store may not allow you to try on an outfit because of the color of your skin, that doesn't mean you can't take a good look at those clothes. Okay, and then go home and sew them yourself. Oh, yeah. And that's exactly what the women in her life would do. Amazing. Look at this coat. I mean, if you're looking away, if you're tidying the house, which I love to do and listen to a live stream, I'll just give you a second. You gotta turn off the vacuum. You gotta put down the dishcloth and come and look at this coat. If you're away from your iPad or whatever you're doing. Sometimes I have headphones in and I'm walking around, whatever. You understand. I mean, for real, that is so cool. It's a Hawaiian motif. I mean, from what I can see, it's a Hawaiian sort of needle turned reverse applique. Look at that coat. I mean, I'm not sure I've ever done anything, I mean, that is in any way like artistic. Like if that's what, it's just so great. I mean, it's like, how do people do that? How do they do it? I don't know, but I'm sure glad they do. Rachel Clark, the way it comes down from at the collarbone, or not the collarbone, the back of the neck, right? That part, it's like a queen. Like a queen would wear this, I feel, like royalty, absolute royalty. This is amazing. So she and her family members weren't allowed to try on clothes in department stores because they were black, so they would just look at the clothes and go home and make them themselves. Incredible. Back to Susie. Because of all the seamstresses in her life, Rachel said she didn't have to find out who she was. She already knew. She was a fiber artist by birth. Look at this picture of her. Oh my God. Rachel's life as a quilter didn't fully blossom. Oh, wow. God, look at the lighting. The sun just came out. It looks like I don't know what. Rachel's life as a quilter didn't fully blossom until she got married to her husband, Gary, and moved from New Orleans to Louisiana to Watsonville, California, in the early 70s. After this long-distance move, she found herself without community for the first time. Clark discovered that even though she wasn't very good at approaching people, I'm going podcast style right now, she wasn't good at approaching people and striking up conversation, she was good at designing clothing that could serve as an excellent conversation piece. And then Susie has this aside, which is really great. Susie says, "This is a great quilt festival hack. Always wear something handmade," right? So like if you're nervous about going to a show or something, wear something handmade, and then you always have something to talk about. Someone will be like, "Oh my God, I love your jacket." You'd be like, "I made it." Okay, Susie says, Clark loved both dressmaking and quilting and didn't feel the need to choose between the two. She explored the possibility of combining these things to make unique clothing with quilting techniques. Oh, look at this. This is, wow. People were interested in her clothes and in turn interested in her. She used clothing to, quote, invite people into my orbit. Now, here, let's zoom in, and then I'm going to do what I did with Janet Bolton too here in our show, because there's another video. It's 11 minutes, so I don't think I would show the whole thing anyway, but I'll give you the link. Actually, I'll put it in there right now. there's a gal who talks about, she's really funny. Her channel is called M.A. Couture Clothing. She's great. I don't know. I have to look at what her name is. I subscribed to her channel, and I liked the video, and so I'll share with that. And so I'm going to turn the sound off because she's at Festival, I think, looking at an exhibit of, yeah, I've got the link there, of Rachel Clark clothing. And so as I read the rest of this article to you, I'll play that on mute again because I think that'll be a really nice way to kind of get a look at more of Rachel Clark's work as we listen to her interview. I'll get it now. I'll put it up here. Okay. Yeah, this is great. Great. So see, she's at, and let me put that in the chat right here. Matt Cox. Yeah, that's what it was. It's Matt Cox. And it was making me think of my friend Meg Cox. M-E-G Cox. The great Meg Cox. And now we have the great Mac Cox. I love it. Let's see. I've got to put it here for you in Slack, Stephanie Cake, so you can throw it in there. So Matt Cox, M.A. Couture. You gotta follow. Gotta do that thing. Here is the link, Steph, in the Slack to put in the chat as well. I have to close this. 1 second. Bizon, it's so good to see you. BJ Sanju, my friend with the French sounding name. Okay, here we go. Refresh chat. All right. So I'm going to play this little tour. It's really, really nicely done by Mac Cox. Love it. Okay. And this is the link that I just gave Steph to give to you. Okay. Great. Finding beauty in loss. We're back to Susie. After years of marriage and raising a son, Rachel's husband died unexpectedly, leaving her depressed and lost. Hearing her talk about this on her Patchwork Nation episode is heartbreaking. Great, so there's a link in the article to that episode. But then, in almost the same breath, she picks herself up and shares a conversation she had with herself and a decision she made to be a survivor. Rachel Clark says, quote, "We have survived slavery. We have survived the Depression. We have survived the loss of husbands and children. And you are going to lie in your bed and whine about what's happened to you? Life goes on. You get up and you move on," unquote. Susie says, "Now, let me just interject here that I have gotten very good at whining. I love her. She's great. Over the years. It could be listed pretty high up on my resume if I thought it would impress anyone. To hear Rachel Clark make such a matter-of-fact, bold statement, well, I better cut out my complaining for a while. I'm still so good at it." After that turning point, Clark decided to pursue some of her life goals with new vigor and passion. One of those goals was to teach sewing around the country. A planned 3-year stint turned into a 25-year tenure that still continues today as Rachel Clark inspires others to express their thoughts, feelings, and even their struggles through fiber art. Clark's work is full of excitement, color, and an eclectic use of materials and prints. She uses her interest in quilting, color, and high fashion to create unforgettable wearable garments that explore themes from politics to farming. She uses anywhere from 5 to 175 different fabrics in any given piece, often waiting years to finish a project until she finds just the right fabric. Clark likes to teach her students to create art that depicts their truth. Quote unquote, she says your truth. She wants every student create your truth. All of Rachel's pieces are highly personal works of art that have helped her find her voice and share her values with those around her. After her husband died, some people told her she should go back to school and, quote, get a real job, unquote. But she trusted herself and decided to dive even deeper into her craft, and she coaches other artists to do the same. And the last bit is what's Rachel Clark doing now? Rachel Clark continues to teach sewing while creating her own whimsical wearable art pieces. She has toured nationwide with her one-woman fashion shows and has been featured in many magazines like Threads and the Quilting Quarterly on HGTV's Simply Quilts. She has her own pattern line, RDKC Patterns, which includes patterns for coats, vests, and wall quilts. She's also published a booklet on wearable art techniques. Yeah, there's a website. Is it RK? It's RDKC. We'll find it there and get it to you. But fabulous, right? So beautiful. Yeah, she's really, really, really great. Drink Wine and Celine says, I'm a jeans and t-shirt kind of girl, but I loved wearing artsy handmade things when I worked at quilt shows. Yeah, I mean, after our whole stream on Tuesday and seeing some of this wearable art stuff, I don't know. I just have never thought it was me, you know, not me. But like, that's like saying clothes aren't me. Like, there's a lot of different kinds of clothes. You know, there's a lot of different kinds of wearable art, a lot of different ways that you can interpret this. I mean, look at this one. Good heavens, this thing, this piece, this watermelon. You see, it's playing with the motif of a watermelon. It's beautiful. It's so cool. Look at the colors that she's captured. Amazing. And then this over here with the tumbling blocks just under the chat. Incredible. Absolutely beautiful. So it's like, you know, I don't know, some of these speak to me more than others. But I think part of it is like when you're, I mean, this is why getting older is okay with me. Like, I'm super into being in my 40s. I'm going to be into being in my 50s, God willing. You know, growing old is a privilege, damn it. So, like, if I wouldn't have the confidence to wear something so, like, you know, like original and one of a kind. I mean, you know, in other times in my life, I'd be like, no, are you kidding? Like, no, you know, if I was going to spend that much money, I'd want something to be, you know, Gucci or something like that, you know, because you're more likely to want to conform, I think, to some extent when you're younger. But the older I get, I'm like, oh no, I've earned this wearable art piece or something. You know what I mean? I don't know. Some people don't feel like that. I've got a lot to learn, but pretty neat stuff from Rachel Clark. Do you wear, I mean, wearable art? What about you, Cake? Where are you on all this?
Yeah, you know, I used to be one of those, like, my entire wardrobe was, like, black and gray.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Most of my wardrobe is still black and gray. But you know what I've realized? I think Drink Wine and Solon just said, yeah. I'm a jeans and t-shirt sort of girl. I think the interesting thing is if you are kind of nervous about wearing something like artsy clothing, jeans and t-shirt, perfect thing to wear under it, you know?
Yeah.
So that if you feel uncomfortable, you could, like, take it off.
Yeah.
But also, you know, it's like sometimes more isn't more, you know, if you like keep it low key, everything else, not a lot of big accessories, and then you put this coat or jacket or whatever it is on. Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah,
that you're right. And I've met you in person. I know what you're like. She's got style. 70K's got style. When we were at TwitchCon, you know, and you're absolutely right. Jeans and t-shirt, man. Good, a classic tee, a classic white tee that you feel good in. Great pair of jeans and one of these coats. That's it. That's really it. Unless you go full and then you're like mixing patterns with pants and all that, like, you know, and that's a thing too. But yeah, like this coat, that's the perfect backdrop for a coat like this. I think is just like keep it real tight, keep it tight, and just, you know, little ballet flats or something like that. I don't know. It's great. Yeah, totally. Beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, you could get away with capes.
Yeah, exactly.
You can get away with all kinds of stuff when you get a jeans and a t-shirt.
Absolutely. And like simple earrings. Yeah, totally. So that's, thank you, Mac Cox, for that amazing footage. It's really, really great. And that's in the chat now. So thank you. And subscribe to M.A. Couture Crafting. This is her. Really, really appreciated that footage. Totally cool. So yeah, M.A. Crafting. M.A. Couture Crafting is that, and you should check it out. Okay, everybody. Well, that is the show today. I'm really, really glad you came by. I love talking about things that are quilt related, obviously, but also quilt adjacent, as we call it. Oh, I'll put this back up for the closing. I love doing that. I'm getting persecuted by the sun, so I'll just scoop myself up here and give the chat a kiss. Here I am. Thanks for coming to the show. And Stephanie Cake, thanks. See if I make myself too big. Well, okay. Thanks for. What's your weekend like, Cake? Are you gonna do anything fun during the day? I know I'm going to see you tomorrow night.
Yeah, you know, I have some projects to catch up on. I've been a little lazy the last week or two. You know, holidays. You get that little.
I know. Yeah, that's exactly how I describe it. You know, yeah.
What is that thing you said yesterday?
Yeah. My favorite thing. And yeah, co-working on Monday, but the show's tomorrow night. It's at 8:00 Saturday night, and Elizabeth, my friend, is going to be here from Just Wanna Quilt, and Just Wanna Quilt, and it'll be a good time. And I'll see y'all later. Take care. Be safe. Wash your hands. Don't touch your face. Okay. Bye, everybody.
Have a great day, guys.
Bye.
The Christmas lights fill the city. There are people everywhere.
Hold on. Okay, wait. We're not done here. Sorry. We're not done here. I took off my blazer. I was like, oh, God. Tried to send a thing. No, Eric is out there. Eric, honey, if you're still here, y'all, just hang on. Eric sent me cake. You're not ready. Y'all ain't ready. If you ever feel sad, what I'm about to play for you will, and I guarantee it will, make you feel better. This is what's up. I'm playing this. It's a very short video that is pure joy. Okay? It's not even a little animal. It's not. Okay, Eric, where did you send it? Did you put it in? Where'd you put it, honey? Did you put it in the? Oh wait. Okay. Oh yeah, here it is. I got it. Okay. Oh, it's amazing. Here we go. Is it worth the wait? Yeah. Is it worth the hype? Yeah. Don't worry. You're not wrong. Okay. This is from Twitter, dumb Twitter, because Eric watches it. He watches Twitter, and okay, and he sent this to me, and I'm gonna play it for you. And here it comes. Okay. Right there. Okay, great. Whoops, it's the Slack. No problem. Hold on. I didn't anticipate doing this, so that's why you have to wait. Okay, here we go. All right, here you go. Wait, I have to get small. Wait, no. I have to get small. I'm sorry. I just didn't get small. I had to get small. Where is getting small? What's going on? Oh God, Eric, look what you did. Look what you did. I'm so mad. Oh, okay. All right. I got it. People are like, I'm so excited. Now here's what I have to do. Just, you would have done the same thing. You see, because I made myself big on the wrong screen. Anyway, all right, here we go. Maybe some people were running to the screen and they didn't even hear it before. Okay, ready? All right, starting over. I can't. Oh my God. I mean, it's kind of like, I have to hear it again, just one more time. wonderful. Oh my God. Okay, one more time, and I just want one last viewing. Okay, and I want you to watch the dad down here in the burgundy shirt below the chat, okay? And by the way, my laughter at it is because it's so life affirming to me. Like, it's so, they're selling it. They want, they're going for it. It just, everybody's there, to watch their kid. And it's just, woo. Okay, one last time. Exactly, Dee Dee. Perfect way to start your Friday. And the sound is not super loud, so it's turned up all the way. Here we go. But watch the dad who is just like, yeah, like this great. You guys are great. Okay, here we go. Yes, I will, Mother Niche. Oh man, anyway, I thank you, Eric, for coming in and making me be in the sun for longer. This is crazy. It was worth it. All right. Here's the link. Oh yeah. Steph, actually, I'll put it in Slack. Right here, and yeah. And I'm gonna definitely make sure to not cut out before I give it to you. Here you go, Steph. So if you could put that in the chat, that's the Twitter thing. And I think, I think that's it. That's it, you guys. Be good. That was fun. Thanks for hanging in with me while I did that. I think it was worth it. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye.
Christmas lights fill the city. There are people everywhere. The snow is falling white and pretty as I stroll